The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and regarded others with contempt. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, was praying thus: God, I thank you that I am not like other people, thieves, rogues, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all my income. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even look up to heaven, but was beating his breast and saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. The Gospel of the Lord.
As we listen to this gospel today and this parable that Jesus gives us, as we quickly realize it's a teaching for us on humility. And humility is necessary to be right with God. Jesus tells this parable of this Pharisee and this tax collector. The Pharisee, as we heard, stands confidently, thanking God that he is better than others. He lists his good deeds, believing that those make him righteous. The tax collector, however, stands at a distance, unwilling to even lift his eyes. He simply prays for mercy. And Jesus says it's the tax collector that goes home justified. And as we look at our society today, I think we can see many instances of people being caught up in themselves. Humility seems to have disappeared a little bit, especially in areas where one would think there should be this sense of humility. And that sense of, to me, humility and service are 2 words that go together. And we have a lot of people that are very caught up in themselves. One area that we used to call public service would be to be a politician. But I don't think we have to look too far to list a few, at least, of those who seem very caught up in themselves and how great they are and how wonderful they are doing whatever they're doing and how they have done in their position more than anybody has ever done before. And not that they embellish anything either. Now you wonder, are you here to serve as a public servant? Or is this all about you? And we can see that in a whole bunch of areas too. We see that in business. And while in some respects, yes, there's an important level of confidence one perhaps has to have to be able to achieve certain levels of leadership, but at what cost? Where is that line between confidence and arrogance? And that's what Jesus is speaking of in our gospel today. And that's where I think, looking at the public forum, we can find different examples, but we also have to be careful that within our own spiritual journey. How many times that people will be in conversation and just get the sense, as they're talking about those people that don't go to church. But I go to church. Yes, Father, those people that don't go to church. And that's true. Those people that don't go to church should be coming to church. But just because you go to church doesn't make you superior. Makes you, following God's law, better to do that, but it doesn't make you superior. In a way that we can flaunt that, like this Pharisee. I tithe and I, do my fasting. Good for you. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Us coming to church, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Well, I volunteer 55 hours every day. Good for you. I don't know how you do that, but good for you. That's what we should be doing. What we shouldn't be doing is announcing it in such a way that says, oh, I'm so tired because I volunteer so much. Maybe you don't know some of those kind of people, but, we can even find that in ministry too. That the ministry doesn't become something where we serve, but it becomes, this is who I am, and look at how wonderful I am. I had one at a previous parish a number of years ago that for a couple of years happened to be the one that was selected to read on Palm Sunday. And from that point on, then Palm Sunday reading, she was the one to read the Passion. She was the only one to read the Passion because she read it so well. Okay, she did read it well, but there were other people that read well too. And she was highly offended when we said, we're going to allow some other people to read the Passion. To the point where, well, I don't know if I can be a reader anymore. Okay. Is this about serving the people of God by proclaiming his word, or is this all about you? That's very easy to get caught up in that. And that's where we have to be careful. Even last night, we had 17 that were present that are part of our RCIA. It's great, wonderful. But I'm hoping the 17 didn't walk out saying, I'm a catechumen now, look at me. That's not what we're about. Jesus reminds us we are called to be humble. That's the path to holiness, is being humble. Doing all those things that God requires of us, desires of us, but not in a way to be boastful about it, not in a way that we think there's an entitlement to what is going on in our lives as a result of that. How do we gain favor with God? Not by boasting, but by humbly serving. And I think that's something that we need to keep reminding ourselves because, as I said, we live in a society that seems to be moving more and more into the self, into arrogance, into entitlement. And at no point, when we get caught up in that, can we claim to be following Jesus as his disciple, if that's what we're going to be proclaiming. Because that's not the model that he showed us. When we look at this gospel, it's interesting. Both the Pharisee and the tax collector got what they asked for. What did the Pharisee get? Nothing. Because he asked for nothing. He didn't need anything from God because he was totally self-sufficient on his own. I don't know about your life, but I know that I cannot be that way. I cannot do it on my own. I need the Lord's help in my life. And that's where the Pharisee got what he asked for, which was nothing. The tax collector, he also got what he asked for. He asked for mercy. He asked for help. He recognized he was a sinner. And Jesus says he left justified. That's what we need to be looking at in our own lives, is humbly coming before God, recognizing our weaknesses, turning to God for the fact that everything we have, as I've said before, comes from him. We need to keep reminding ourselves of that. That's how we will be righteous. That's how we will be justified. That's how we will find favor with God. And I thought perhaps to conclude today, I came across this litany of humility. And perhaps we can pray that together. And as you are aware, many times with the litany, there's a part that's said, and then there's like a little refrain part that happens after that. So this litany only has two different refrains. So the first one will be, "Deliver me, Jesus," which will be what I would invite you to say. And then the second one, and I'll let you know when that happens, and I'll remind you again, "Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it." So I'll say the first part, and then for this first section, the response will be, "Deliver me, Jesus." O Jesus, meek and humble of heart, we ask you to hear us as we pray. From the desire of being esteemed, Deliver me, Jesus. From the desire of being loved. From the desire of being extolled. From the desire of being honored. From the desire of being praised. From the desire of being preferred to others. From the desire of being consulted. From the desire of being approved. From the fear of being humiliated. From the fear of being despised. From the fear of suffering rebukes. From the fear of being forgotten. From the fear of being ridiculed. From the fear of being wronged. From the fear of being suspected. And now our response will be, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it, that others may be loved more than I. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it, that others may be esteemed more than I, that in the opinion of the world, others may increase and I may decrease, that others may be chosen and I set aside. Jesus, grant me the desire. That others may be praised and I go unnoticed. That others may be preferred to me in everything. That others may be holier than I, provided that I may become as holy as I should. Now, if you were like me, and as I was listening to some of those things, I went, I think I'm going to have to work on that. You know, and that's the thing with our God. He's always willing to help us if we are humble enough to ask.